And you won't be able to describe it. But here's why. It's because it's all about me. It's a place where there's no more selfishness or sin at all. So that's key in your understanding of what heaven is. It's that it's a place where you'll never ever have a selfish thought, or even the smell of sin, which is, I'll think about myself instead of other people. It's this place where God exists, and you can see him face to face, and you only get to know him more and more, and you actually become part of something amazing, because you're there with the amazing. I love this idea that we're actually able to see God, and he says, I think it's there in verse 5, he says, I am making all things new. When it says new, that word has this weird, I'm not like a Greek scholar guy. In Greek it says new. Okay, no, but in Greek it's like this idea of always new all the time. So that first time that like what's something fun? Like dropping in on that wave and being like, whoa, this is crazy, this is awesome, getting like the addiction of surfing. Or the first time someone like said and looked into your eyes and you had a crush on them and they're like, I like you. And you're like, that's what you said on the inside. If you actually said that, that was bad. That's why that didn't work out that well. Never mind. It's that first time, like for me, I saw the Grand Canyon or Yosemite and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I didn't know places like this exist, and you're just staring. This feeling of insignificance and significance. God says, I am making heaven new all the time. It's always new. So what will you be doing in heaven? Part of that is experiencing something always new. If God is infinite, then the closer you step to him, the bigger he gets. That's crazy. And so realize that I'll be talking more about like ideas and concepts of what heaven is. So for now, think of it as this really weird place where God lives. You'll be there and there's no sin, there's no sickness, there's nothing like that. And Chris is going to talk more about the practical stuff, like, well, what are we going to do when we get there? Am I going to get really good at harp playing? Spoiler alert. But check this out. When we look at like what is being described here, realize that we don't understand it. That we live in flatland, and here's this other thing. But it's so cool because guess what? If you have given your life to God, this is a promise that you are going there, to the everlasting.
So when I was growing up, and you guys might be like me, I grew up in church, and my idea of heaven was this idea. I literally would get to the point where I wasn't really excited about heaven, and some people I think aren't, because we have this idea of this endless, very fluid, nothing's concrete, there's no fun, and then we just sit in a room and we sing for all of eternity. Everyone's wearing white, everyone has a harp, everything is made of clouds. No one knows how, it's just the way it goes. And then there's gold and there's everything else. And you're like, that would suck so bad. But you go, well, compared to hell, I guess I'd rather be in heaven, but really, compared to heaven, I'd rather be on earth. Whereas Paul, whenever he writes about it or talks about it, when people see it, they literally are indescribable in order to understand what this thing was. Said it's so much better than our present reality. So I had to start researching and go, what does it mean that it's better than our present reality? Okay, what about these ideas that we have? Where did we get those from? Revelation 13:6 says this. It's talking about Satan, and it says the satanic beast, or Satan for us, or the devil, whatever you want to call it. It says, the satanic beast opened his mouth to blaspheme God. Blasphemy is a word that means to lie. Okay, so blasphemy is to say, oh, I'm God, which I'm not. Okay, or to say, oh, I'm Oprah, and I'm not. It's blasphemy. It's saying it's a lie about something. He says, Satan opens his mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. Okay? So Satan loves the fact that in my brain, it's this endless white monotony of weird, creepy people who just sing all day just for fun. That's like their idea of a good time. He loves it. Because if that's my view, if that's the pinnacle of my life, is my death and then going and being that really boring place, then I might think, well then the here and the now, I need to have all the fun that I can have, all the quote-unquote fun I can have here, until I go into the endless monotony of song. It says Satan opens his mouth to blaspheme God and to blaspheme heaven. He loves the fact that's our idea of heaven. That every time someone comes out in the movie, It's this white place with just two guys, one's white, one's black. One of them's God, and they confront each other, and then they wear suits all the time. And it's like, Satan's like, yes, again, another movie comes out where you guys don't understand what this thing's about. Two great attributes of God that teach us a lot about what heaven is going to be like, and that is that at the beginning of time, God sets up Eden. Now, the Garden of Eden, there's this Hebrew phrase that's used. It says that it's tov ma'ov. Okay, that's a Hebrew phrase that means perfect. When he finishes with heaven, he finally makes man and woman. He sees their relationship. He sees where they are, the way they relate to their surroundings. He says, this is perfect. It says there was synecdoche between the people and the animals. Now that just means they got along. Okay? So like last night, I tried to catch a rabbit. Okay? There's a rabbit, there's a baby bunny right outside of my house. And it was like the cutest, tiniest little thing. But in its world, I was there to eat it. Okay? You ever done that? Like, if I could only explain to this rabbit, like, dude, I want to hold you. I'm going to pet you. I got carrots inside. I'll hook you up sweet. No coyotes will get you while you're in my grasp. And then, when you're good and ready, I'm going to let you go again. It would be like, okay, sounds great. But I can't. Because I walk towards it and it's like, no! And I tell you, something 9 times my size came up to me like, no! Get you! That's what happened. So it's running away from me, and I'm like, man, if only this thing was perfected and redeemed like we were in the garden. Where you'd be like, I'm here to hold you, and it'd be like, I love being held. And you pick it up, and it's like nuzzling your hand, and you're like, yes! This is so awesome. It says that's a relationship that people had to animals, that they lived compatibility with one another. Okay, so if there's a lion, it'd be like, hey, lion, come here, let's go play soccer. And he'd be like, okay, I'm a lion. Okay, or like, I want to go ride that zebra. The zebra's like, that sounds great. Grab onto my mane. Okay? In my brain, that's the way that animals talk. And if that's not the way they're really going to talk in heaven or whatever, then don't ruin this for me, okay? This is my thing. Okay? In my head, they're all like that. And it says that what we do in heaven will be out of, not out of necessity, but out of pleasure. So like, if, let's say we eat on earth. We eat so that we don't die, okay? Because you'll starve to death. We drink so that we don't die, okay? It's a necessity. It says in heaven you still get to do the things that you enjoy on earth that brought you satisfaction, that kept you alive, but you'll do it just for the sake of doing it. Like, we get to have feasts, but we get to have feasts because we just get to eat food. Food that we've never tasted before. Okay, it's the best thing you've ever tasted in this world. It says that's like scum in heaven. You don't even get it. Okay, what we value most in this world is completely of no value in heaven. You can't take it with you. Okay, so like if you were like, okay, well, before I die, I'm going to trade in all of my treasure on earth, my 401k, my house, my car, everything. I'm going to buy as much gold as I can, like these big gold plates. Okay, so you get to heaven, you have your big gold plates, and you're like, look how much money I have. It says that the streets of heaven are paved with gold. Okay? So you're going to show up to heaven with your big gold plates. You're like, look what I brought. And God's going to be like, you brought cement? Like, we walk on that crap. We're like, it's really valuable. He's like, no, it goes on the floor. We're like, what? You just walk on that stuff? The idea is that what we consider the greatest, he considers this is what we walk on. And if that's our idea of perfection is gold and value and money, he goes, that's literally going to be the dirt. Okay? So we have this picture of Eden and what it looks like. We have this garden. It's lush. It's community. It's communication with God. He walks with them in the garden. We have a relationship between the man and the woman, and that's supposed to embody perfect connection between people. We have animals living in congruence. We have water. We have oceans. We have this perfect world. Heaven currently is not here. It's somewhere else. But at the end of time, God is going to come back and he's going to redeem earth. So it's not like this far away, fluttery place where we're subconscious. It's a reality unlike we've ever experienced before. He's going to come back. We are going to be here on earth, but it's going to be perfected and it's going to be redeemed. You go, okay, well, we're going to be in the clouds. No. Everything we read in the Bible, it's back here. At the end of time, it's redeemed. It's made new. He doesn't lobotomize us. He perfects us. He doesn't take away our desires. He redeems them. You guys get that? Our God has got a redemption. He doesn't go, oh crap, screw it over. And he like finishes and starts everything over. He goes, I've taken it, I've made it good to begin with, and it was perfect at the beginning of time, and heaven at the end of time is going to be perfect. Either heaven's going to look a lot like Eden, or our God changes his perception of things. Our God changes to what he views as perfect. We read in Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. James 1:17, every good thing bestowed and every perfect gift is from above. It says, so it's saying every good thing you get, every perfect thing is from God that is above, from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation, there is no shifting of shadows. So it says he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And if yesteryear, he set up even as perfection, and he's a God who's never changing, that means when he sets up perfection again, it's going to look a lot like Eden. A lot like Eden. So we look at that and we don't see stringy, harpy, dress-wearing, harp-playing, weird people who sing constantly. We see people who work, who learn, who grow, who explore, who enjoy creation, who are able to create themselves, who eat, who enjoy fellowship with one another. He goes, that is heaven to me. And that's what heaven is going to look like. That's what we're going to do.
And so when we talk about heaven, it might sound like, well, why are you guys talking about like eating and animals? Understand who God is. God is someone who came up with that because he is a God of pleasure. He loves the good things in life. He came up with them in his brain. He came up with laughter. He came up with memories. He comes up with that. So to him, heaven is all of that good stuff reflected by him, shown by him. And whenever we do that in heaven, it's not going to be about our memories. It's going to be about, look, God, you made us laugh. You gave us laughter. It's going to be sweet. And heaven is going to be this place that's more real. That's the weird thing. We think of this white place in the sky, or we read the Bible and we're like, okay, it sounds like so far off because they're using weird words like. It's like this, it's like that. But it's more real. It's like all of our senses are heightened. Like gravity's there, like we can taste for the first time. We can smell, we can see for the first time. New colors, we can hear music differently for the first time. It's like those dreams that you have that are so vivid, and then you wake up and you're like, whoa, I can smell coffee. And those weren't aliens that were attacking me. That was just a dream. Now I can like get up and my toes hit the carpet and you feel all of that. That's what heaven is going to be like, where you can really experience everything for the first time. And one of those important things in heaven is this. When I was growing up, I think I was 8 years old, 7 or 8, and I got this Christmas present. It's my big present for the year, was this little set of Legos. How many of you guys were given Legos when you were kids? All right, sweet. Okay, cool. That helps me out understand. You saw the box. You saw the outside of the box. That was awesome. And they were like even moving, like on the box. They're like, oh, they're like doing things, and I can't wait for the box to happen. This is going to be so sweet. I got a pirate Lego set. So it had like a mast and this little island and a little prison thing that you could open the door and put. There was a shark, and the shark's jaws opened up, so I'd always take the little guy's heads off and put them in the shark and be like, yeah, this is awesome, this is so cool. But when I first got that box, I opened it up and it was a bunch of plastic bags with Legos in them. I was like, what the crap? This is not the same thing. Open it up, I'm like, open it up, just put all these, and here's all these Lego pieces. And I look at the box, and I'm like, life is a lot like looking at the Lego pieces. And at the best, we can take a few pieces and go, okay. And then we'll take our whole life trying to get like two things together, like, okay, look, I've built so much in my life. Like really emotionally healthy people have done like 4 pieces, and we're like, oh, you're successful with your life. But we're looking at the box like, but it's supposed to look like this. There's pirates and there's a shark. This is so cool. I think when we hear about heaven in the Bible, it's the picture on the outside of the Lego box. Like, oh, that's going to be great. I cannot wait for that. And we sit here looking at our life and we're like, oh, everything is disconnected. Have you figured out yet that pain comes from disconnection? You were made to be connected with people. You discovered this early in life where you were trying to connect with either like a sibling or a friend and something went wrong, and that's where we get hurt. Even physical pain, like the tendon is not connected anymore, and we're like, ugh. Some of you who did Ragnar know all about that. So there's like a team of you that went to Ragnar, and now you're limping around, carrying each other, because things are disconnected. Things were supposed to be there that are not there anymore. But in our relationships, like in families, there's disconnection. The greater the connection that's supposed to be there, the greater the pain when it's disconnected. Spouses, parents, when that's disconnected, when those pieces are apart, that's where it hurts the most. And that's why I love Revelation 21:4, when he says there will be no more pain, no more sorrow, no more crying, no more tears. Guys, can you imagine a world where girls don't cry? I'm just kidding. Everyone, can you imagine a world where there's just... Could you imagine a world where there's just no more sorrow and no more pain? How would you live if you knew that you would never cause hurt to anyone and no one would ever hurt you? That's heaven. That's awesome. That's what is being offered to you. That's what's awaiting you. And it's cool because also it says in the Bible, like Chris was saying, that there was Eden, and then we live in this, where all the pieces are disassembled, and then there's going to be like a better Eden. And it's kind of funny because the way the Bible talks about it, it's like there's nature and there's people, and we're actually together. And it's really weird because it talks about a city, but it talks about it in like natural terms. It's like finally we figured out the environment. And instead of doing like ecocide every day, I know you guys are like into this, like the fact that if I want that bottle of water, I have to like spew stuff into the atmosphere, and God is like, that's all done. We're going to be totally connected. So connected, we're going to be connected with nature. And I love the way C.S. Lewis puts it, because I didn't tell this to any other service. You guys are special. C.S. Lewis sees that we have these gods that we make out of just, because we're so into nature, like when we see it, because it's so fascinating. We hear thunder, we're like, ooh, so we'll make a god of thunder. We see the sea and we're like, oh, I feel so small and insignificant, so we'll make a god of the sea. And this is what he says. The reason we have peopled the earth with gods and goddesses